I'm quite honored to be here to partake in this, this workshop where I'll be talking about air quality and advocacy. Okay, so when we talk about air, so what is air? Like the air quality. So the air quality is the amount of air pollution or gas, okay, that's in the air, right? So we breathe air. So it's very important that the air that we breathe, is clean air, right? Because if not, we'll get sick. So the World Health Organization has ranked air pollution as one of the major environmental health risks and also the single biggest environmental threat of human health. Again, the World Health, so that's WHO, had said that air pollution is one of the major environmental health risks and the single best environmental threat to human health. That is a very big issue, right? Because we breathe air every day. So if we take in, unclean air, that affects us. It affects us in every aspect of our lives. So there are different causes of air pollution. We'll talk about air pollution. There are sometimes I would think about smoking, right? But also there are different things that cause air pollution. There's smoking, there's wildfire. We also have the exhaust from vehicles, right? When we drive our vehicles and we don't take care of our vehicles, the exhaust that comes from the vehicle can pollute the air as well. And when we inhale those fumes, that affects us. So also from different the industrial plants, and we have these plants in different neighborhoods or different parts of the country. When all those fumes get into the air, that also that contaminates the air that we breathe as well. So all those different things can cause air pollution. So here we go to the rankings. There are different countries, and with everything in life, there are different rankings. Like so, we have some countries that rank the best with the cleaner air. They take care of their country and make sure that the citizens in their country breathe clean air. And we have some that that have the worst ranking of air pollution. So the 5 best countries with the clean air includes Iceland, okay, Barbados, New Zealand, Norway, and Trinidad and Tobago. So in looking at that, the US ranks number 27 at 65%, and Canada ranks number 17 at 72.4%. Like so, Canada ranks it higher than the US. So the 5 worst countries with the worst air pollution, the first one is Chad. Then we go to Bangladesh, and then we go to Pakistan and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and last but not least is India. So if you look at those countries, so they rank the worst with air pollution. So it could have something to do with the population, of those countries, and also maybe the vehicles or the all different factors that need to be taken into account with those rankings. So with air pollution, there are many negative effects from air pollution. So we look at the health outcomes that relate to poor health quality, right? So we look at um, um, cardiovascular issues, right? So can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, I'll look at the cardiovascular issues. So look at the poor air quality can cause people to to cough, could have some respiratory infections. It could also cause people to heart disease, lung disease, as the dietitian mentioned earlier, lung disease, asthma. It can also affect our eyes, because many of us don't think about, the effect that air pollution has on our eyes. So just think about it. They might stop smoking and feel like the cost of cigarettes has gone up so high. Why would I be wasting my money and purchasing cigarettes? Okay. So the next thing is the emission, the tested vehicles. I'm not sure if any of you have seen, like, sometimes when you drive, there are some vehicles that have really bad emission. You're driving, the smoke, I've seen it. The smoke is so much that it actually makes it difficult for you to drive your own vehicle, for you to see, because there's smoke everywhere. So in some states, they have a law where those cars have to pass emission tests, and you have to get that done every year. So, and when you do it the emission test, they give you a sticker to put on your vehicle to show that that vehicle has passed an emission test. But the only thing is, in the United States, it's not in every state, it's just certain states. So advocating for the emission test to be a requirement for all the states would be an important, an important thing, an important law for those, for us as citizens who care about, like, the air pollution, to advocate for that. So we have the Clean Air Act of 1971. Those the act that came in place, to advocate for clean air. We also have the Environmental Protection Agency that advocates for clean air as well, and they've put different measures into place to ensure that those vehicles and the different states meet the requirement. We also have the American Lung Association. They're an advocacy group, so they're advocating for clean air to protect our lungs. So there are many things that we can do. We are to stay informed, right? So we stay informed to know what exactly is going on. If there's a mention of there's going to be construction going on in this particular area, we should try our best to avoid that area if possible. Or if we're going through that area, maybe have the windows of our vehicles up so we don't inhale too much of that, the air particles in that area, right? So the Weather Channel also has, so they show different the different colors. So to stay aware, it's also good to know those colors, right? So it's green, yellow, orange, red, and there's purple and maroon. So when you see green, it means that the air quality is good. So you can go out and feel free and breathe the air is good. So when you go to yellow, yellow is moderate. Then we get to orange. It says it's unhealthy for sensitive groups, right? So the sensitive groups are those who are, like, are more affected. The children, the pregnant women, those who have those pre-existing conditions, heart disease and things like that, right? Then we go to red. Red is unhealthy. Then the purple is very unhealthy. And maroon is just hazardous. So if you see maroon, is aimed to just for you to just stay inside and try to avoid being outdoors as much as possible, if you can avoid it, because we all know, like, there are sometimes that we are not able to avoid it and we have to be out. So know your colors. Know your colors. Also, be in the know. There are many times that you might live in neighborhoods, and an agency might come and say, okay, we're going to bring many jobs in these areas. We just need to open a factory close by. Sometimes we think, okay, and they're bringing jobs, which means, okay, more money for the economy. They're contributing to the economy. But it's always good to know what type of company would that be? What type of factory? What would they be producing? If they're building a factory next to my backyard and they're going to be producing some hazardous chemicals, is going into the air, and I'm living right next to that, that factory, that is not going to be a good idea. So know who the lawmakers are. I say sit at the table, attend those meetings, vote. And when you're voting, have the facts. Don't just vote because you like what someone is wearing or what they're saying, or maybe they're your friend or your family member. Vote for someone who is going to advocate for the right thing, for clean air, for, like for not to have those factories close by neighborhoods. Maybe have them further away in an area where it's not frequently traveled. So know who the lawmakers are. Run for office. Be that voice. Advocate for the underserved. Advocate for the voiceless. Or when it's time to vote, get people out to vote. That's another way, and you can advocate for clean air. Okay. So I talked about the Clean Air Act of 1970. So okay, so what that does is it regulates air emission, and it aims to protect the public health and the environment. And it requires for states to make a plan to achieve and maintain the standards that have been set. So as I mentioned earlier about, certain states have the emission test for their vehicles, where those vehicles have to pass. So that's one of the things that, that Clean Air Act, okay, they enacted. So, they have to like to pass those tests. And also they address the emerging population threats, because sometimes also when states or countries are overpopulated, there's also issue with air pollution. Okay. The Clean Air Act also mandate the use of the newest technology and science to combat air pollution. Look at those old vehicles. They regulate. Okay, this vehicle, it might be, if it's the vehicle is how many years old, maybe it's time, to look for a newer vehicle, or what can you do, like, to bring it up to standards, so that way it's not affecting us. So all those things. So they talk about the air quality flag, right? So many organizations they can participate in this. So you can advocate also for organizations to participate in the air quality flag, where they purchase those different flags. Remember, I was mentioning about the different colors, right? The green, the yellow, the orange, the red, the purple, and the maroon. So what the air quality program does is that those organizations, the businesses, they purchase those flags. So when they look at the weather, and the weather states, okay, today is going to be good air quality is green, right? So the organizations will they'll take those flags and post them around, maybe their businesses or outside in front of their doors, just to let the community know that it's good air there, so they can go out and just feel free and breathe the fresh air and things like that. And then when they see the maroon, so they put that out there as a caution. Okay. So when that happens, let's say the children are at school or at daycare, and it's a day where the air quality is poor, so the teachers will have to adjust the activities for those children, so they can spend more time indoors than going outside. In that sense, is preventing them from inhaling that air. Okay, since the air quality is poor, and also is helping them with their health and preventing them from getting sick. So it's apparent, for different agencies and community members to participate in that program, because it's not just helping yourself, you're helping your neighbors as well. We're helping each other, because if I started, the next person starts it, that could trickle down to help us as a whole, because together we stand. And we have to learn to protect each other and work together for the betterment of our world and our earth. So, in conclusion, air is everything that we all need, and is very important that and we take care of our environment, because if not, we'll just continue to get sick. It affects us not just mentally, physically, emotionally, our mental health. Because if we get sick, remember I was mentioning earlier about anxiety and depression, right? Because when we're not able to go outside, we get depressed, and we start feeling sad and not able to like to take care of ourselves. Or maybe something happened, maybe I was outside and some particles entered my eye, and now I'm anxious. I have anxiety built up where I'm not able to go outside, or each time I decide to go outside, I'm anxious. I start, developing symptoms where I'm sweating, my heart begins to beat fast, and I dread going outside. And then I start to isolate, because the more we isolate, the worse our depression and anxiety symptoms get. Okay, so let's advocate for clean air. And the smoking, if you smoke, engage in, the smoking cessation classes. Speak to, your providers about different alternatives that can help you to quit smoking, because it's not just for air, but also for your health as well. Because having those pre-existing conditions, that exacerbate your symptoms, and we can lead to more dangerous symptoms. So advocate, vote, let your voice be heard, speak up. Okay, and you can form groups, like, to go to the polls and help as well, and know the colors. Thank you so much.